Flute is for music. What's a human being for? What are you for? One idea is that humans are here. The biological thing with that evolution is that everything is here to make more of what it is. Like the way it was written years ago in The Selfish Gene is that, and a chicken is an egg's way of making another egg. That's the way he said it. It's all about the DNA. And it's all about having more people, more chickens, more snakes, more viruses. The purpose of life is more life. But there's a couple problems with that. One is that it would say that the only success is having children. And if you don't have children, you're not a success. And I disagree with that. I believe that our success is based on something more than just making more of us. The other problem with just saying that the purpose of life is to make more life is it's just kicking a can down the road. No one actually answers. It's like going to the grocery store and, great-great-grandfather says, my daughter will pay the bill, and the daughter says, my son will pay the bill, and then the son says, my little Joey will pay the bill, and little Joey's going, what? And so the point is we can't just pass it on and say the meaning of life is that we have kids and they'll figure it out. We need to figure it out for ourselves. We need to take responsibility for who we are. If we're a hammer, we're for nails. If we're flute, we're for music. As a human being, what are we for? One rock song says, work, buy, consume, die. And indeed, we can sleep, walk through life, and next thing you know, a year's gone by and a decade, and if you're like me, you look in the mirror and say, who is this old guy? It happens. And next thing you know, starting to look around, and the obituaries are getting more and more interesting, right? As we start to be people we know. We can sleepwalk and be lost in our lives just being bumped around by the small things and miss the big meaning. The analogy I like to use is walking through the woods without a map or compass and trying to go in a straight line. They say that people walk in a circle. Some people walk in a little circle, some people walk in a big circle, but we tend to wind up, if we're lost in the woods, to not be able to go in a straight line. One of the reasons I've heard is that we tend to go, when we hit a tree, we tend to go around it the same side, the downhill side, for example, because it's a little easier. But as you slowly choose the right over the left, you end up slowly making a big circle. So they say if you want to go through the woods straight, you should alternate when you hit a tree, go around the left, and then the next time go around the right. And then you will make probably a bigger circle, but you'll be a little better at keeping a straight line. What's even better is if you know where you were and where you're going. Sometimes if you're out in the woods, you can look back and have some sight from where you're coming from. And you can say, yeah, I started back there next to that ridge, and so I know that I'm moving away from the ridge, so that's good. And you can take a back sighting. And sometimes you might be able to say, I see that big tree right over there, if I keep heading towards that, and that's a way to keep in a straight line. So knowing what you're moving away from and moving what you're moving toward is another way to try to keep your life in a straight line, instead of just being knocked around and thrown off course by all the little details of life. And so do you know who you're trying not to be? Do you know the kind of society you don't want to have? That's what you're trying to move away from. Do you know the kind of person you want to be? You know the kind of society you want to have? That's what we should be moving towards. It's really nice if you have a map and a compass and know how to read it. That helps a lot. Then you can have an idea about a guideline and to help us along the way. Sometimes the guidelines inside of us, but we also can work together. That's part of what the stories of Jesus are about. They give us a map and a compass, an idea of how to live our lives and what to do. Jesus, after his own God experience where he was baptized, And the Spirit came down on him and said, "You are my beloved Son." And after his time in the wilderness, as he was discerning what this meant for his life and how he was going to live, when he comes out of the wilderness, he starts calling people out of their ordinary lives to follow him. This is how it goes in the Gospel according to Matthew. It says, "As he walked by the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon, who is called Peter, and Andrew, his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. And he said to them, 'Follow me, and I will make you fish for people.' Immediately they left their nets and followed him. As he went from there, he saw two other brothers, James, son of Zebedee, and his brother John, in the boat with their father Zebedee, mending their nets. And he called them. Immediately they left the boat and their father and followed him." And so here we have the beginning of this story where Jesus is now calling followers, calling people to be his disciples so he can teach them and he can lead them. And there's a couple of things I want to square up with you on this. And one of them is the idea that when Peter dropped his nets to follow Jesus, it meant his wife and kids had no food on the table. He just walked away from them. He didn't care. That's not true. What is true, for example, we hear a story that where did Jesus go? One of the places that Jesus went was Peter's house. And so Jesus says, "Follow me." And where are we going? Well, I'm going a lot of places, but one of the places I'm going is to your house. So it wasn't like Peter left his family. Peter actually had to go back to his family with Jesus. So it wasn't abandoning his family. Also, there was extended families. And so when it says that Andrew, the sons of Zebedee, that would be John and James, when they left their dad, that he was stuck. Well, no, they were an extended family. They had a lot of people that worked together. An example of this is when the story of Jesus in the temple. When Jesus is in the temple, and then it says they leave to go home, and they're like gone most of the day, and then finally says, "Where's Jesus?" He says, "I thought he was with you." "Well, I thought he was with you." Well, he must be with Uncle James, so they checked, and how about Aunt Sarah? No, and they looked for Jesus, and they said, "He's not with us." How did that happen? But the reason why, it wasn't that they were bad parents, that they were like a moving family reunion. They were all together, and the kids ran together. Maybe you've experienced that, where you were that house where all the kids came, and they says, "Oh, they're over at the Mox," that kind of thing. And so parents didn't worry that their kids were missing at first because they knew the usual places they went, places that they trusted. So I'm telling you that when Jesus called James and John to leave their nets, and Simon and Andrew, they did not abandon their families, and they did not cause hardship in that way. And we assume that the father was mad at him for leaving the boat. But we don't know that. The father might have said, "Attaboy, that's what I want you to do. I want you to follow this Jesus. He's a great guy. I can't do this because I got these responsibilities. But you guys go ahead. I'll make sure everything's good here." We don't know. We just assume that the father didn't like it. But maybe the father was a big supporter. But we do know this. Jesus called them. He didn't command them. He invited them. They could have said no. They could have said no, but they didn't. But I want you to know that there's no force in the call of Jesus, because like God, Jesus is one who is patient and kind and does not force people. In the same way, here you are with your nets, with your ordinary lives, with the trees of your life. And how are you spending your life? And the call of Jesus is an invitation to come and follow. It's an invitation that your life would have a purpose and a meaning that's more than having children, that's more than having a business, that's more than consuming. It's a meaning of it's community building, it's justice building, and it's soul building. And Jesus calls them to that, and Jesus is still calling you to that today. It's a metaphor in a sense, leaving your nets. And so, right now, there could be that you're leaving your nets behind. Right now, you're saying, just for right now, I'm not going to worry about those things, and I'm going to think about what's my life really about. What really matters for me. What am I really here for? And Jesus is calling you, just as Jesus called the disciples long ago, to put their nets aside and follow to the meaningful, purposeful life. And so that's one thing. The other thing that I noticed about his call is he called them 2 by 2. He didn't call them 1 by 1. We like to think about this as that this is personal, and it is. It's very personal. We know many families where one person chooses to believe one way and somebody else chooses to believe another way, and people have different ideas on how to be a human being and what's important. But he called them together. He called the 2 brothers together in both occasions, and I think there's a meaning in that. And that is, salvation is something that we do together. So even if you're called individually, it's not something that you just can do by yourself. You can do some things by yourself for a time, and there's hermits and monks, that like to go out in the wilderness and pray, but they come out of the wilderness to be in a community. And I'm wearing clothes that I did not sew myself. And I do not know how to make these glasses. And I'm carrying this cell phone, and I have no idea the technology in it. I just know that I do it and it works. It's fantastic. It's amazing. And I want you to know that spiritual life is also something that we do with the help of others. The way I like to think about it is that we do not need to reinvent the wheel. We only need to light our fires. And so we don't have to think, I'm not going to think any thoughts that have ever been thought before. I'm going to think new thoughts only. Good luck with that. Better to say, where have people worked at this for centuries, and what do they know, and how can I learn from them? My point is, we're not in this alone. We're in this together. And we do better when we help each other. If we're together and one of us is weak and the other is strong, we can help each other. We don't all know everything, and we do well when we can go to someone we trust and say, what do you think? We do well when we can say, I don't know the answer. Can you help me? Or where can we go to find out? It is such a freeing, liberating thing to know that we're all in this together. So right now, called to leave your nets, called to come together. Together here at Park Church right now. We're all in this together. And what are we doing? He said to follow him, to follow Jesus. And to me that means that his words are our teaching. So we look at what he actually said in the Bible. As according to the writers of the New Testament, that's the best we have, and it's pretty good. What are his words? What did he say? His life is an example for us. What did he do? How can we learn from that? And then his presence is a help. That he is with us. And that's what can keep us from wasting our lives on the small things and missing a deeper, more beautiful purpose for our lives. When I was a little boy, I was read the Ugly Duckling story. And the story is familiar to many of you, I suppose, that once upon a time there was a mama duck, and she had all these little ducklings, but one of them was weird. It didn't look like the other ones, and it didn't walk like the other ones, and its feathers were different from the other ones, and all the siblings picked on it, like it was stupid, and it looked funny, and so it really had a hard time with it. It really did. And then as it got older, it continued to be different than its siblings. And then one day it saw a swan, and then realized that it was not a duck at all, but was actually a swan. And it goes off to be with a beautiful swan. Now there's some problems I have with the story. One is I've got nothing against ducks. It's not like swans are better than ducks. If any of you have swan problems, you might think that you'd rather have duck problems. They're big, beautiful birds, but they're messy and they're dirty, and they walk across the street and don't care a thing about anything. Like geese, and ducks, they look like groups of dinosaurs when they cross. When the geese cross over in front of the MCO, when they walk across, they just cross the street like this. They don't care. That's how they are. With ducks, I've never seen ducks do that. Ducks hurry across the street, maybe. But the point is, the little one needed to be true to who they were. The lesson for us as Christians is that James and John and Peter and Andrew, they were living lives that were less than they could be. They were probably fine fishermen and fine fathers and fine brothers and fine sons, but they were actually destined, invited to a destiny that was greater than that. They were invited to a destiny to be part of the salvation of the world. And so it is for us. There is more about you than you know. There are depths in you that are unplumbable. You bear the image of God. Christ is in you, the hope of glory. And it would be a pity if you just stayed by your necks. So, without letting your family starve, show up for work tomorrow, but think about God's call on your life to be more than a fisherman or whatever it is you do, but also to be a child of God in the world, part of God's salvation in the world. There's no force in this. This is something we do together by God's invitation. So be your best beautiful self as God calls you to be and as God made you. And may I be my best beautiful self, and may we be our best beautiful selves together and follow Jesus Christ together.